I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker.
And I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
And we're the Insiders. And this week we're talking about the key players at the state capitol and the upcoming state budget. We've got a new player on the scene. We have a new Senate Majority Leader in Devin LeMahieu. He's working with Speaker Robin Vos and the governor. Those three people have to somehow get together in order for the state to have a budget. How do you think that's going to work out, Chuck?
Well, it's interesting. Already, LeMahieu is an interesting character in this play. A lot of people were not expecting him to be the winner of this. At least that was the conventional wisdom. And I am not an insider on the Republican side. Perhaps Scott can speak to that. But there were people who thought that Roger Roth was going to be the guy. LeMahieu came through and became the leader. You got to give him some political points for that. But then he sent a huge shot across the bow of Speaker Vos when he came up with an agreement with Governor Evers on a COVID bill. Now, Robin Vos is now in the corner and hasn't been able or willing to agree upon that. But what that tells me is that LeMahieu is going to be a much less passive player in this process than was Scott Fitzgerald. Everyone knows that the Senate is a hard body to deal with. I know that, having been majority leader. And of course, it's a better body, as the speaker will, I'm sure, admit to you, as having been the head of the assembly. I didn't think he would. But the bottom line is that LeMahieu is taking some pretty early moves to show Robin Vos that he's not going to be a shrinking violet and that he will have a place at the table. I think that that is good for the state because it means there will be more voices heard. But I think it speaks to an elimination of Robin Vos as the sole power on the Republican side. And I think that that is good for the state, but it's not so good for Robin Vos. And you could see him this week flailing in some of his attacks against the governor as he realized that his dominant position in the Republican Party leadership is waning.
I think what you saw there was Devin LeMahieu's victory margin was really, or his base was given to him out of that caucus by people who felt that they had not stood up to the speaker enough, that there hadn't been a strong enough Senate position. And so on the first issue to come along, he, of course, found a way to define himself differently than the speaker. But I think when it comes to the state budget, that they can't afford to do that, and they won't do that. I think they will be fairly united as they work their way through the state budget. LeMahieu was previously on the Finance Committee. He regularly cast votes in the same way as the other members did. So, and when you take a look at his appointees, many of them are also formerly assembly members from the Finance Committee. So I do think that you're going to find that they work well together in the upcoming budget. I think it's going to be kind of a replay of the last budget, in that, you know, the governor will propose a budget that contains all sorts of liberal policies and a tax increase that the Republicans can't possibly support. The Republicans and the governor won't end up engaging with each other on negotiations on the budget, so the Republicans will write their own version of it, and the governor will reluctantly sign it as he heads towards re-election. So I think it's going to be somewhat of a replay with regards to that, but that LeMahieu will look for places to assert Senate equality with regards to the assembly on some other matters of policy.
And it could go that way. However, I think the dynamics of this budget are very different than they were the last time. I think that it would be naive of Robin Vos and the Republicans to think that they will be able to repeat that performance. And there are some real reasons for that, but I think I will leave that for others, for them to find out, for us to know and for them to find out. But I also would say this. I think that LeMahieu has figured out that there's really only one way that he will be able to distinguish himself and come in a different angle and have greater power than Robin Vos. And that is to have a door open with Evers. You know, it's interesting. I've talked to some very strong Republican leaders who really know what they're talking about. People you were associated with, Scott, in previous years. And they've all understood that Robin Vos doesn't want to give Governor Evers any wins. But you know, LeMahieu, he has a caucus that's every bit as strong, even more so than Robin Vos now. He can afford to do something over there that Robin Vos can't. Robin Vos has one policy, it's scorched earth. That doesn't look so good for Robin Vos. And LeMahieu, I think, is trying to find a way for his Senate caucus and himself to look better in that relationship between the three parties. I think this is going to be a much more interesting dynamic when you don't have passive Scott Fitzgerald, but you've got an active majority leader who has been told by his members to make this look different. I think we may see some surprising things. Whether that occurs in the budget or not, I don't know, but I think there's even a chance there. This could be a different year.
It would be a mistake if the Republicans let the governor triangulate them with regards to the state budget. That's the most important document of the year. And my guess is that they'll be on the same side, both Lemieux and Voss, as they write the budget that the governor is going to eventually sign.
I think it will be fun to watch this year.
All right. It's always fun.
We'll see you next
week.